good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you, you thirsty bunch of beer drinkers, whenever and wherever you're tuning in from. We're back, and we have a great episode today. Today on the pod, I'm welcoming a dear old friend of mine for what I know will be a great conversation. Mary-Beth Keefe, the head brewer of Toronto's family-owned Granite Brewery, is in the hot seat today. The alpha female mom and lifter of heavy things, as she describes herself on her Instagram account, will take us through the history of the Granite, how she got her start in brewing, and why she chose to pursue a career in the family business. She'll also discuss what it's like being one of only a handful of female brewmasters in Ontario, and why she loves Ringwood yeast. But before we get started, I want to read an Instagram post that I wrote about the Granite back in 2021 on their 30th anniversary. I want to read it so that you can get a sense of what this brewery and this family means to me in the context of Ontario beer and as individuals. So, here we go. 30 years, Granite Brewery. I've had so many amazing moments there during my time in beer. Actually, I found a typo in my original post. My time in beer. Have so many great memories with you and have developed long-lasting friendships with the whole Keefe family and the extended family, which is their staff. You are family. Ron has had a huge impact on my beer career. He actually taught me about beer at George Brown College and was one of the very first people in Ontario craft to welcome a no-name blogger into his world, making time to answer any and all questions about the Granite and the industry in general. Ron is a legend in beer, a treasure, if you will. Sam, Mayor, and Dave are carrying the torch now and are all doing amazing things, preserving the history of the family business, but also moving it forward with the changing times. From my first visit in 2007, after being a regular at the Halifax location, to stopping in during a bachelor party pub crawl, they let us come in, to Mother's Day brunches, mid-afternoon pints and chats, hop rubs, Toronto Beer Week meetings, GLB trades, collabs, and much more, the Granite and their people hold a special place in my heart. Now, while I dab my eyes, I have a couple tears, let's get on with the show. And a quick show note, there will be no Cole's notes on the episode this week. He's got his head buried deep in a science book or something like that on a beach. I could do a segment, but I don't want to make him look bad, so we're going to skip that this week. Now, I've decided I'm going to go with a Canuck this week, Canuck Pale Ale that is, so I'm going to crack me a can and hear an ad from ourselves about Great Lakes Premium Lager. Hang tight. We'll be right back with Mary-Beth Keefe.
There appears to be only one line on this sheet. $50 for a case of Great Lakes Premium Lager. That's it? That's the ad? Okay. Cases of Great Lakes Premium Lager are only $50 every day of the year.
Well, hello there, Mary-Beth. Welcome to Between Two Fermenters.
Thanks for having me.
How was the drive all the way from Mount Pleasant and Eglinton?
Oh, you know how it goes.
Toronto
Bloody
traffic.
Gardner.
Well, we have something for you to ease that pain. We have 3 beers in front of you, GLB Weiss Beer, Citradiction XPA, or Canuck Pale Ale. You get to choose which one you'd like to drink. I was going to bring some English ales, but I thought you might want a break today.
I will go with the Citradiction, I think.
All right. Go nuts. Crack that open. And pleasantries now out of the way. You got a beer in your hand. I'm going to ask you some hard-hitting questions that, I'm known for doling out. And the very first question, it's loaded. Why didn't you bring me any of that super amazing, mouth-watering, almost too good to be true lamb curry that I might give up one of my kids for?
I don't know. Why didn't I do that?
What's in the bag over there, though? Did you actually bring me some?
I got you, Troy.
That's amazing. It's just turned into the best day ever. I was really excited for this interview, and I had to do it the lamb curry. But no, best day ever. This, folks, is the best curry in the city, and it comes from the Granite Brewery, Mount Pleasant and Eglinton. Okay, Mary-Beth. Mayor. I call you Mayor. Some people call you Mary-Beth.
Most people call me Mayor.
All right, let's go with Mayor today. Who are you? It's a loaded question, isn't it?
Well, I suppose in the context of this conversation, I am the head brewer at the Granite Brewery. I have been since 2009, we'll say.
Okay.
So.
And you're a mom of 2 boys.
I am.
2 awesome kids. Mm-hmm. And you live, we're not going to give it. Yeah, we're not going to give out your address, but we're almost neighbors, you and I. What do you do when you're not at the Granite?
I'm kind of a homebody. I spend time with my kids, do my at-home workouts, and chill on the back deck when it's nice outside.
I'm not giving away too much, but you have a kegerator in your house, so you have
I do, but it hasn't been full of kegs for a while. Cans, but not kegs.
Oh, I might have to send you home with some today.
Yeah, I have to clean my lines. That's the problem.
Before we dive into everything about Granite Brewery, I have some questions for you about you. So you just said that you've been brewing since 2009, but when did you officially take over the day-to-day brewing operations from your father, Mr. Ron Keefe?
So I'd been helping him for years, basically since he opened the doors.
I've seen that picture of you and what is that? The horses or dogs on your sweatshirt?
Yes, I was obsessed with horses.
We will be sure to put this into the post.
The infamous picture with the horses. But yeah, I got into it full time when I came back from England in 2008. I came back in August, and I'd always said that I wanted to be a brewer, wanted to be like my dad, thought what he did was really cool. And again, I did work on and off in the brewery for years, but when I came back during that time, that's when I decided to get serious. And in the winter of late 2008, early 2009, that's when his assistant brewer left, and that's when I was able to really get in there and get my hands dirty.
So was that the first time you were actually brewing yourself, or
No, while the assistant brewer was there, he spent a lot of time with me, and I helped him do the things that he did. My dad obviously was teaching me as well, but then again, when he left in 2009, that's when my dad really took me under his wing.
So that would have been the time when your dad was also teaching the beer course at George Brown, where I went through that course with him and fell in love officially with the Granite. So when the assistant brewer left and you started and you're working with your dad, which for many, many folks out there, that's probably not an ideal situation, going to work with your dad every day. But how was that? How was it with Ron over your shoulder a lot in those early days?
It was great for the most part. We were really lucky that we all worked well together, my brother, my dad, and I. Obviously, there are times where we don't see eye to eye on things, but typically it's a really, really great relationship, and we've worked together over these last however many years to get the Granite to where it's at, and that is very much a collaborative effort. So I feel extremely lucky that I'm one of those people that work well with my family.
And we're going to talk about that a little later in the show too. But going back to your trip to the UK post-university, what was it about that trip that made you realize that, you know what, this is the industry I want to stay in and thrive in?
I worked at a pub in a small village where my husband's from for most of a year. And just the pub culture of England was really impressive to me. Just the regulars that would come in, you really got to know them. It was very much like a family feel. And the fact that cask beer was everywhere. And I was like, I love cask beer and I have this at home. Like, I can do this myself if I really want to. So while I was over there, I definitely got a really great appreciation for English beers. And I was just, I don't know, it kind of hit me one day. I'm like, I've got this at home, so I should take advantage of that. So when I got back,
the spark.
Yeah, it was.
Nice.
When I got back, I told him, and I was like, I'm actually serious this time, because I was a little flighty at times with coming into work with him. I'd mash in for a bit. 10:30, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to go home now. I'm done. He's like, we're not done. I'm like, you got this. So,
and what was his general reaction? Was he thrilled, like, okay, this is it? Or was he a little skeptical?
He's probably a little skeptical, but I think I showed him pretty quickly that I was serious about it. So,
yeah. You posted on Instagram the other day about how tough the month of July was. And you wrote, and I quote, "This job is not as glamorous as people think." So what did you mean by that?
I get a lot of people saying, oh my God, you're a brewer. That's such a cool job. And it is a cool job. It's absolutely a cool job, and I would not do anything else. But it is like incredibly stressful, and it's hard work, and it's exhausting, and there's so much to it. But and it was just one of those days where it was literally one thing after another going wrong, and we were all tired because we're just trying to catch up. After this LCBO strike, the LCBO strike impacted us in a really positive way because we don't have a presence there. So people were coming to our beer store and buying our beer, and we were trying like as hard as we could to keep up, and we did a good job with it, but it was not without its struggles. So that's what I meant by it. Like, yeah, I don't know. People just kind of think that being a brewer is just, so cool, but there is a lot more to it, even though it is so cool.
So walk us through. So you're the brewmaster. Do you call yourself brewmaster or head brewer?
I kind of alternate between the two of them.
You run the brewing program at the Granite. So what does a day-to-day typically look like for you?
It depends, I guess. I'll brew like twice a week usually in the summer. Obviously we ramp up a little bit then. I also spend quite a bit of time in our cellar, so everything post-fermentation. I do canning, I clean growlers, I fill growlers, I do everything pretty much. Try to stay on top of all the ordering, and fortunately though, I have a great team and we all work together really well to manage that load. But I'm just all over the place, and we are a small brewery. We're very hands-on, and we pretty much all do it all.
We'll do it all. Okay, let's talk about the Granite. So we've talked a little bit about you and how you got into doing it, but let's go way back to the early days in Halifax. I want to know, I know a lot about the Granite, but I want everyone to know about the Granite. I think everyone in Ontario should know the origin story and how it got to Midtown Toronto, and now second generation Keefes are running the show. So spill the beans, tell the story.
Okay. I'll try to be as succinct as possible.
I might interrupt you from time to time, but
that's okay.
Let's do that. Okay.
So my uncle, Kevin Keefe, opened the Granite in 1986 in Halifax. He started, you know what, if I go into too much detail, my dad's going to be like, nope, that wasn't right. So I won't go into too much detail, but basically his main location for a long time was the Henry House on Barrington Street.
Just an amazing spot, by the way.
So amazing. And even now it's really amazing. And we actually send our beer, we're sending it out today, Peculiar and Ringwood, to them.
That's amazing. To Donna and Bill Alsop. They're still the owners?
They are. And actually Jessica, their daughter, is running the show quite a bit now. So she's actually the one that got in touch with me to get beer back there. But yes, I am getting ahead of myself. So Henry House for a while, until 2000 or so, and then they moved further downtown on Barrington Street and had a location there. Then they closed the doors there, but opened a just production facility on Stair Street. And then I think they were closing that for a parking lot or something. So then they started brewing out of Propeller. And then in 2020, they closed their doors completely.
And did Kevin retire with that?
He did. Yeah. 1991, my dad, Ron Keefe, opens the doors to the Granite in Toronto. He saw what my uncle was doing over there and thought it was great. He was like white collar, 9 to 5 at American Standard, and then colorization. And he wanted to change. He wanted to run his own business. He wanted to make beer. And he learned from Alan Pugsley in
the late 80s.
I guess, probably 1990 or so. I can't remember what state he was in then. I was going to say Maine.
Maryland, Maine.
One of them. Yeah. He went over there. He learned from my uncle too. And then, he got the keys to 245 Eglinton Avenue East in March of 91. And then we opened our doors August 12th. So we are coming up to our 33rd anniversary in just less than 2 weeks now.
Now, is it just lore, or is it you had another uncle who unfortunately passed away, and was that kind of a kick in the ass to your dad to say, life's short, I'm going to do it in his honor? Or is that just
quite
something
possibly, because him and Kevin they had a bunch of businesses together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the Granite was part of that, but I could be wrong. Again, my dates, I know he passed away when he was 43, but I can't remember what year that was.
Okay.
So, but yeah, quite possibly. They were doing so many great things in Halifax, and I'm sure my dad was like, yeah, I can do something like that over here.
And you grew up in the brewery. You grew up, as you said earlier, from a very early age, watching your dad do the beer and serving pints. And what was it like growing up in, I say Granite royalty?
Yeah, I've said it a million times, the Granite is like my second home. I was 10 when he opened, and we had a whole bunch of family dinners all the time. I would go in to help him on a Saturday, fill casks, whatever else he needed another pair of hands for. And yeah, it was just so that's where I got my first glimpse of what being a brewer could be, or what it is. And yeah, he has a story that we were there for just a Friday night dinner, and a server came by with a tray of beers, and I said to him, do you think they realize how much work goes into making that beer? And at that point, I'd barely done any work, but I'd clearly seen all the hard work that goes into it. So, yeah, I've been around it forever. I love the Granite. I love what it's become over the years, and I'm really, really happy to be a part of it now.
So, and it's much more than just beer, no offense, because you make some amazing beers. But let's talk about the food for a bit. I already gushed about the lamb curry, but it's well known for the amazing food that comes out of that kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our chef now has been with us for, I think, 17 years. That's just as chef. He worked as a line cook before that. He was dishwasher to begin with. But yeah, we've had a great number of chefs over the years, and Utian has really excelled and made the menu what it is, and all the events and weddings, why people keep coming back. So we're extremely grateful to him. And
you mentioned 17 years, but again, I know the staff at the Granite, from the moment I stepped foot in there in 2007, has been a bright light in the hospitality industry. It's been a huge advantage for the Granite. What's been the secret? Because there's usually a lot of turnover in the hospitality industry, but at the Granite, there seems to be, you get there and you stay and you thrive, and your everything is for the customer.
I think that the way my dad is as a boss is the main reason why people stick around. And also because we do have such a great group of people that work there, it's fun for the staff to be there. It doesn't necessarily feel like work the whole time, because they're friends and they'll go out together after work and generally have just a good relationship with each other. And the fact that our customers have been coming in for so long too makes it such a familiar place, and we're lucky that our customers are as great as they are. So I think all those things combined is why people want to stay, because it is, I'm obviously biased, but it is a pretty great place to work.
You mentioned customers, and growing up 10 years old when the Granite opened its doors, you've grown with your customers as well. So how many extended family members do you now count that are customers?
I don't know. There's so many. It's so great. And one of the really awesome things now is seeing the kids that came in as 2-year-olds, and now they're 22 or even older, or they're coming in with kids of their own. It's insane. So, yeah, it's just you do see the growth with everyone, and yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
And so we're going to get to the family dynamic soon, but your father, Ron, is not day to day anymore. Judging by his social, he likes to travel. But so 33 years old, you've had to change with the new beer age, I would say. So 1991 to today, and with Ron kind of stepping back and you and Sam coming in, what are some of the biggest changes you've made to change with the times?
For myself, I would say he had like a core line of beers, and that was pretty much all he did. Occasionally he would do a new one, but it was pretty few and far between. When I started getting more serious and learning and knowing more what I was doing, my goal was to make new beers as often as possible, because that's the best part of the job, is making something new, seeing if you can tweak it to make it better, or if it's just perfect the first time, that's even better. But so yeah, I think that just with Ringwood yeast alone, I probably did, I don't know, at least 50 different beers. And then I felt like I had kind of capped out, because Ringwood is very particular to what styles you can brew with it. The flavor profile is very pronounced. So yeah, you can't just make anything with it. So yeah, I guess 5 years ago now, I got a closed fermenter for the first time ever. And that's when I could really start to make different styles that I really like to drink. I love IPAs. That's what I gravitate to. So making West Coast IPAs or the new hazy IPAs was so exciting for me. It still is. But it's just funny because open fermentation, Ringwood yeast, it's like bulletproof, as we say. It's, if you take care of it, it will keep going. We're now on 1,455 pitches of this one
strain.
Yeah, strain that we got now like 7.5 years ago. So those brew days are really simple and straightforward, and you can kind of do them on autopilot. Whereas the closed fermenter beers, for me, even though I've been doing it now for 5 years, it's still something that I have to think a lot more about, and they're just a lot more delicate, it seems, because the yeast isn't as hardy as Ringwood, and yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot more to think about. Meanwhile, this is what brewers do every single day. So I'm like, I don't get it. But
the setup is you're tight on space in the where you are now. Is there any goal in the future to add more closed fermentation?
We're actually looking into getting a bigger one now. I won a grant last year through the Beer Babes family. We could get into that later if you want, but
well, why don't we get into it right now?
Okay.
You won a grant.
I did. So Beer Babes family is a not-for-profit. They just started in this realm about a year ago.
Okay.
And what they do is they set up collaborations with breweries in North America, so US and Canada, and they're trying to get elsewhere as global, well. But yeah, this is what they're focusing on now. So they reached out to me last year to see if I wanted to do a collab, and I said yes, absolutely. Anything to do with women in beer, I'm all for. So yeah, we set up the brew day, and then we had the launch. And at this point, it was quite a bit smaller than what they've become now, because again, it was just starting out, and they've gained a lot of momentum since then. But I think they did 13 collabs last year, and the proceeds from those collabs went to this grant that is then awarded to a female brewery owner to better her business. So I won that last December. And yeah, this year they're up to like 26 collabs, I think.
Wow.
And they're already setting up for 2025. It's probably a lot more than that. So yeah, it's really awesome what they're doing. And I'm really grateful to be a part of the family, because it's not just women too. Men are involved too, but just a really positive space to enjoy beer for a good cause.
So with that grant, and congratulations, you're looking at getting a bigger
fermenter. Okay. Yes, because now people really do like the one-offs that we're making in FVX, which is what we call it. And yeah, it's just a like 5 barrel fermenter, so it's pretty small.
Do you find that those beers are being enjoyed by a younger demographic at the Granite now, or is it everyone that comes to the Granite is enjoying these beers? Because I know personally, selfishly myself, whenever I go to the Granite, I have 2 beers. Well, more than 2, but Best Bitter Special, we call it dry hop, and the stout.
Right.
And while I do have your beers in cans, if I'm there, I'm drinking those 2 old school delicious beers. But
Yeah. Well, it's like anyone. Some people stick to what they know. So we have a bunch, I guess, who will only drink peculiar, only drink dry hopped. But then we've got a bunch as well who like their classic Granite stuff, and then they'll try all the new stuff that we have too. So it's all over the place, I would think.
well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's all you can ask for.
And what's one of the newest ones that you've brewed? A hazy. You just had it on the other day.
Brand New Day.
Brand New Day.
That was the first one I ever did in FEX, and it's been very popular. So this summer, especially, we're brewing it a lot more than usual.
Good. Nice. If you could sum up what makes the Granite so special in a handful of words, what would they be?
I would say community. Whether you're supposed to call your workplace a family, I will anyway.
That's fine. I think, one, there's a lot of family there.
Yeah, it's true.
But again, when you're 33 years old, it does sound, I know people say that, like, don't refer to, but even at Great Lakes, we have staff that have been there for 20 something years. There's no way you can't say Mike Lackey is not staff to Peter Bullitt or family to Peter Bullitt and vice versa. So,
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. And passionate. We care about what we do so much. We want the best experience for our customers. So that's all I got.
Okay. Now, the last kind of question on the Granite before we get into the family dynamic and some other things is, if you could close your eyes and paint a picture for someone going to the Granite for the first time, they walk in the front door, kind of give us the layout of what people would see and experience when they walk in.
Okay. So as you walk in, you will see our bar, which is 33 years old. Kind of shows its age a little bit.
I love it, though. That's what a bar should be. It's like an English pub, right?
Yeah. Lots of wood. We've got wooden tables, wooden chairs, wooden floor in the bar side. And there is a big flying frog as soon as you walk in, right in front of the bar. Have
you guys ever used the frog in like a beer? Like not in a beer, sorry, but like on a label?
We haven't. We should, though. Yeah. Totally. Some girl the other day was like, how much will you charge for that frog? I want it. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's not for sale. Something
like hoppin'.
Yeah.
Like you could hop in.
Sir Hopsalot. That's
Sir Hopsalot.
Yeah, I think a child has called him that before. So thank you. That's perfect. On your right is the library. So there you've got some carpet and some upholstered seating, as well as more wooden chairs and wooden tables and lots of books on the wall. And then actually before that is the front patio. So lots of good people watching there. And then you walk on towards the back, and the brewery will be on your left-hand side with windows so you can see in, and just don't tap. Please don't tap the window. You will see all of our
spook the brewer.
all of our open fermenters in there, as well as our little closed fermenter at the very back.
And if I'm not mistaken, there's a large scale cutout of you and your brother.
Of course, how could I forget that? Me and Utian, yes. Yeah. And then you've got the snug on the right hand side, which is just a little seating area for about 25 people, and then the large dining room, which seats about 100. And then you go a little further back, and we have a beautiful oasis of a patio that seats 75 people, and it overlooks a courtyard that is part of the building. But there's lots of flowers back there and grass, and it's very peaceful.
And that's beautiful. Where you do a lot of the weddings and wedding receptions.
Yeah,
you do ceremonies and receptions, right?
We do.
Yeah. I do know whenever I take people that have never been to the Granite, they're always astonished at how big it is when they walk in. But I'll tell you this, it doesn't matter if you sit on the back patio or if you sit in the library or the bar, it feels snug to me. It feels like a very comfortable, I don't want to use the word like confined space, but it's like you're part of the fabric, if you will. And it just, you feel very comfortable no matter where you sit and well looked after.
It's, it's a question I get sometimes from people visiting, like, if you could change anything, would you? Or refurbish or what have you. And I said, well, yeah, there's actually quite a bit I would do, because at this time it is a little bit dated, but at the same time, it's also what the Granite is. Like, it's just that kind of cozy feel, sort of English pubby. But yeah, it's not modern, but it is homey.
Were you in the UK when the hop rub happened in the back room?
I was not there when that happened, but I heard about it.
So that was a great night. Fun night.
Our cleaner was not happy about it.
I remember your father saying, it kicked me in the ass to get new carpet because they could not get the resin out of the carpet,
right.
That's a story for another day.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the family. We've talked a little bit about them being involved, your father, Ron, and Sam. So you are the brewmaster. You run the brewing operations. Your brother, Sam, is the GM of the restaurant.
Yes.
Second generation. Did this just occur naturally? And where's Dave?
So Sam went to Queen's and he got his business degree. So he has that background under his belt. So yeah, just like I did too, we both were servers for a while, and then we kind of went in the directions that we did. So I'm not even sure when he started managing, but it probably started with like nightly managing and then taking on more administrative duties, stuff that he knows how to do and was obviously showing an interest in. So my dad took him under his belt in that regard. Dave, he worked with us up until 2 or 3 years ago, I want to say.
He was doing video and website and social.
He was doing
serving.
that. He was also brewing. Like when I was on mat leave, he was the brewer in charge while I was gone. He did that for a couple years, 3 years maybe. And then decided that he wanted to do his own thing. So that's what he's doing now. And he's killing it. So
good.
But actually his girlfriend Jess is now another manager with us. So we lost Dave, but we got his Jess. So
he's got to be one of the smiliest guys I've ever met.
Yeah, he is. He's actually, he's taught me like a good hello in the morning can make someone's day. So
for sure. So shout out to Dave. So what's it like? You said coming into work with your dad was great. It was awesome. You learned a lot. You could talk, and he was a great mentor, trainer. What's it like to go into work each day with your brother?
It's good too. Honestly, considering that we work together, we really don't spend that much time together. He's in his office half the time. I'm in the brewery, but we will confer with each other if for a few minutes every day, just get on the same page, that sort of thing. But we do have a shared vision of what we want the Granite to be. We don't butt heads or anything with that. He lets me do my thing in the brewery. I trust him to do his thing in the office with like everything to do with front of house or numbers or what have you. So yeah, it's very rare that we ever like have any disagreements. It's usually if one of us is stressed out and we're asking the other for something and we're just like, can't you do it? But that's pretty much it. It's great.
So, and you guys are a very tight-knit family. When you have you're celebrating someone's birthday and you're all together in the same house, is it shop talk or is it no shop talk?
We try very hard not to do shop talk now, because that was a point of contention for a while, especially when Dave was there too. My mom would get pretty annoyed, fair enough, that we were talking about the Granite too much. So we definitely, if we're going to do it, it'll be for like 5 minutes and then no more. Okay.
And do you think that keeps the family tight that way? Just work is work and family's family?
I don't know. The Granite's obviously a part of the family too. But yeah, we're very close. My mom has always been adamant that we have family dinners at least once a month. It used to be more, but with 2 kids and they both have dogs now, it's just a little trickier to get together that often. But yeah, once a month. And yeah, it's just, I think again, keeping the granite out of it is important just to, focus on the other parts of our lives.
Now, you have the two boys. Have you guys talked about, okay, second generation now, but I know they're young. Our boys are the same age. Is there, in the back of your mind, is there that, dream or pipe dream saying, I want my sons to grow up and run this one day?
Well, that would obviously be amazing. I've taken them in a few times. They've not spent a brew day with me, but I've had them come in, and actually they did come in one day to help me fill casks. It was funny. I thought Tommy, the oldest, would be more interested, but Ben was actually more interested. So, we'll see. Like, when I was younger, we used to come to the Granite for dinners a lot more often than we do now. It is something that I would like to do more often because I want them to feel the way that I did. And they should, because like it's very important to me and I'm there a lot. So I just want it to be a positive space for them too. And if they wanted to come brew with me, that would be amazing.
I know my kids always tell their friends too that, my dad works in beer, and they, we go back to that. One of the first questions I asked you about, it's not as glamorous as you think, but, do you see the boys look at you and they're like, yeah, my mom brews beer?
I'm curious to know what their like idea of beer is, because Mark and I, we obviously drink beer at home, and it's just very like, it's just a natural thing to them. My kids think carbonated water is beer. Like, Dad's drinking a lot, but no, I had like a couple bubblies. Those aren't beer. We call those pop. Tommy thinks he's drinking pop, so that's a win for us.
Okay, let's get into some social media stuff, because you are big into social. At Mary Brewster on Instagram. Sam and I joked at one time. I said, where's your sister? She's not in today. And he goes, I don't know. Let's check Instagram. But you've garnered a pretty loyal following. And why is social so important to you and the business?
I think it's, again, that idea of community, because there are different aspects of social that are important to me. Beer, obviously a big one. Fitness, another one. I don't know, just like happy things, like supporting women, supporting anyone, really. It's like, that's a good vessel to be a positive space, I guess, because people say all the time that there's so much negativity on there, and I honestly don't see it from my perspective, because I only go to the positive places, and I only want to be a positive like
voice in the industry, and using your platform to do so.
Exactly. I don't know. I have I went to university for film. So I studied film, analyzed film. It's always been a big interest for me, passion. And I don't know, this is kind of the closest thing I have to something like that, I guess, as well. Making little reels and all that stuff.
I hate the term authentic, but I feel like you've blended two worlds into, more than two, as you just said, but you get to know the person that's brewing the beer. You get to know the person at home. And so when a customer comes across your account, or a new customer, they can immediately identify with who you are and why they should be drinking your beer, because it ties the two together. But I also noticed through your social, you seem to highlight and recognize other breweries a lot, not just focusing on the Granite beers. Is there any rhyme or reason why you do that? Because I guess it goes back to what you said, you're a good ambassador for the industry. Or do you just like the beer and you want to showcase what you're drinking?
I'm just I like to think of myself as being very supportive of a lot of different things, places, people, all that. So if I'm having a good beer, I'll absolutely talk about it. Or if there's someone who's impressive to me, I will give them a shout out, because that's important to me. I don't know. I like good people. I like good beer. I want the world to know it. So,
And that's leading, you led me right into this question. Tell me about your love for Devil's Pale Ale.
oh yeah,
I think you, honest to God, market it better than we do. And no offense, Charlotte, Fabian. But when that beer is coming out, you know about it before some of our staff know about it, because when we tell you, but then it's out on your social. You tell everyone that Devil's is out. So tell me about that beer.
I remember having it for the first time at Toronto Festival of Beer, and this would have been a long time ago.
Well, 2006 when it debuted at.
Okay, so maybe it was then. And to be honest, I remember seeing the sign, and I was like, "Oh, that looks cool," and I tried it, and I really can't remember what it tastes like then.
A lot different than it is today.
I'm sure, yeah. And then I couldn't tell you when I had it again, probably from the LCBO, because at that time it was Devils and it was Mad Tom that were like my go-to. Because I I started with the craft beer. Tank House was like my first
it was so good
flavorful beer that I loved. And then, I just remember Devils and Mad Tom, and like, I just loved it so much. I don't know. It just like, it has the malt character, the hoppiness, the bitterness. It's just so balanced and so great. I don't know. It's like the best of everything. So yeah, it's funny. Like so many people, there are a few things that people will send me stuff about, Princess Bride being one.
And Devil's Pale Ale.
Devil's Pale Ale. Yeah, people
and there
bring that up
may
to
or
me
may
regularly.
not be trades for lamb curry and Devil's Pale Ale.
No, you guys have been very kind to me with that for sure. So, and actually, hopefully, everyone remembers that they said I could come for the brew day this year.
That is true. We did. We had. We did a collab beer, a lager, just to have some fun with your dad. Ron's Lager, we called it, and it was no. We took, how many people did we have? 12 or 13. We took our whole brewing and packaging team to the Granite.
Yeah.
And guess what everyone ordered? Lamb curry. But we wanted everyone in our brewery, we wanted them all to experience what the Granite was like, because we were working with you guys. And so I think it was at that time, and it was maybe after, we said, okay, when we brew this next, you'll be there for that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Lackey, Nick, remember.
Yeah, I'll remind them.
I have 3 questions that came in through Instagram before we take a break, hear an ad, and then get into some rapid fire questions to cap off the interview. So here is one from Intermittent Glimpse. What's the worst part of a brew day for you?
Well,
grain out?
Yeah, I'd say actually taking the grain bags out. Like digging it out is not so bad. I've never really hated that part, because we actually have to get into the mash tun to dig it out. But in the summer it can be really hot and gross. But yeah, taking the bags out, I don't love. Typically it's like, it is what it is. If something goes wrong, okay, the worst part would be if the heat exchanger clogs while you're brewing. That is the absolute worst, but that doesn't happen too often.
Well, that's good. Every time we used to do the pilot system back in the day when we had just the little 100-liter system, 70-liter system, anytime we tried to make like a very hop aggressive beer, it would clog every single time. So if we were doing a collab beer with like a bar, we'd be there for like an hour after, just trying to get the beer going. Anyway, a question from, I don't think this is a real name. This is a pseudonym for someone. Joe Lager says, how is Monty? I mean, Alistair.
Oh, he's
not the
good.
other Monty.
Alistair is good. Yep. Still working hard, and yeah.
That's good.
Being Alistair.
Mr. Monty Python. This comes in from our friend Fabian Skidmore. What is the next tattoo that you're going to get, and will you come to Great Lakes after?
Oh, obviously. Next tattoo will be adding to my American traditional sleeve. So I will, absolutely be coming. I think it's September 15th or something.
So mark your calendars, Great Lakes. So Mary goes to get a tattoo and then comes to Great Lakes for a post-tattoo visit.
I do, because it's like 7 minutes away. So
what is do you get the same beer every time, or do you mix it up?
No, I mix it up.
Okay.
Whatever's new, usually. Yep.
All right, take a sip of that Citradiction. I'm going to have another sip of Canuck. We're going to hear an ad, and then we're going to come back with some rapid fire questions. Hang tight.
Hey guys, it's Sadie here from Great Lakes Brewery with some really exciting news coming for you this summer. We're happy to announce that on August 24th, we're going to throw our first ever large-scale craft beer fest right here in beautiful South Etobicoke. It's called Brewed for You Fest with 20 plus breweries and cideries, some of our closest pals in the industry. We're excited to have Shannock Road doing an amazing Celtic rock set, as well as my personal favorite, a 90s throwback set by the band Discman. Brewed for You Fest here at Great Lakes Brewery on August 24th. Go to greatlakesbeer.com for details.
Man, our Brewed for You festival is coming up fast. I think you guys are going to be there, right? In August
No,
24th?
we can't.
You can't.
We have a wedding that day and our Beer Babes launch.
Okay.
Sorry. But we go to all the other ones.
Yes, you do, and we'll forgive you for that
Okay.
one. You brought me lamb curry.
You'll be coming to ours on August 11th.
That's
though.
right. Well, okay, before we get into the rapid fire, tell us about that.
Oh, yes. So August 11th from 2 to 6 is our 33rd anniversary party. And for the third year in a row, we've invited 7 or 8 other breweries to pour their beer with us on our back patio. So it's like cheap tickets for 5-ounce pours. And yeah, you can look at our Instagram to see which breweries will be there, but there will be 8 other breweries. Great Lakes will be one of them. Mm-hmm. Always a really fun time.
Rapid fire now. What beer have you been enjoying recently?
Deer Dale, which I shouldn't say what it is. It is an homage to an OG West Coast. That's all I'll say. But yeah, it's my favorite West Coast IPA that we do.
And what a homer. That's one of your beers.
I
Okay,
know.
name another beer.
Like someone else's?
Sure.
I
I know Godspeed, maybe.
was just there on
Yep.
Saturday. Yeah, any of their lagers I'll always enjoy.
You're hanging out with that funny guy from London with the curly hair now, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Milosh. Name your celebrity.
I thought you meant Michael Hancock,
too. Name your celebrity doppelganger.
I don't think that there's one in particular. Like I've been told many, many different people. So I don't know. I've heard Kristen Wiig.
That's what I was going to say.
Really?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to get Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera combo.
Yeah. So
That was
I
a
thought
long
you
time
weren't
ago.
going to come up with one. So I had
okay.
that in my head.
All
That
right,
Kristen
cool.
Wiig. Name a person in the industry that continues to or has inspired you.
My dad.
Oh, I knew that. You're gonna.
Yeah.
That's my answer as well too. Again, rapid fire. I screw this up every time. There was just a Toronto Life article months ago. Jason Fisher from Indie Ale House, Mandy Murphy from Left Field, and myself were asked, independent of one another. We had no idea what our answers would be, and someone said, "Who is like that one person in the industry that inspires you?"
Unsung hero.
Unsung hero. All 3 of us said Ron Keefe.
Yeah.
And when I did the interview, I was the last one. He said, "No way." The other 2 said him as well. I said, that's a testament to who he is and what he's done in this industry. So a big
That was
part
amazing.
big part of getting the Tide House licensing happening to have a brew pub and to sell beer to go in this province. So best time and place for a beer.
Anytime. Right?
Yeah. That's a good answer.
After a long, hard brew day in particular,
There's
sure.
probably nothing better than after, like, I'm not a brewer, but like getting the grain out and it's hot and sticky, and then you have that first cold beer is probably really nice.
I try not to drink during my brew day.
I mean, after the fact, it's done. That's what I mean.
Oh.
After your brew day is done?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you could only drink one beer for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, gosh. It would be one of mine. Probably Brand New Day.
Okay. Yeah. Favorite place to grab a beer in Toronto other than the Granite?
I like Greater Good a lot.
That's
West End.
That's a far haul.
It is, but I know a bunch of the servers there. They're all really fun, and they always have a good selection.
Favorite bar in the world?
Oof. I don't know.
Probably that one that inspired you to come back and work in the brewery.
God, absolutely not. I worked at that one, and it was, the people that ran it were not great.
Okay, one curveball before I ask the last one. Will the Granite ever open a second location on the Danforth again?
I hope so. I would love that.
FYI, the Granite had a second location in the 90s. In the 90s? Yes, or early 2000s.
2000,
yeah. And it was called
Beer Street.
Danforth and Pape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I hope that too.
Sam and I wish so badly that happened a little later on because,
Me too. I never got to experience it. Never got to be there. And
it was
for
such
some
a nice
reason
little spot.
your dad loves Beer Street and Gin Lane, like the
Hogarth paintings. Yeah.
Best hangover cure.
Oh, I hate hangovers. I try to work out.
Especially with
Sometimes
kids
it
now
helps,
too, eh?
and sometimes it makes it much worse. So I don't know. Drink lot. Oh no. Okay, no. Pringles, salt and vinegar, and Prime.
Pringles, salt and vinegar, and Prime. All right, that's a new one. Okay, I like it. Mayor, thank you so much for making your way out to glorious Etobicoke all the way from Mount Pleasant and Eglinton. I know it was a hike, but we sincerely appreciate it. And I had a line in here saying, I just wish you brought me some of that famous lamb curry, but you did. So
I did.
I'm still going to have to pay a visit to the Granite sometime soon to have it with a cold pint of dry hop. Or I'll have you back on the show very soon and we can eat it on the air. So thanks again for everything. Thanks for telling the Granite story. Thanks for telling your story, and have a great rest of the summer.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Around the industry.
In a post on Instagram, Took the Brewery in Embrun, Ontario, which is about 30 minutes or so from Ottawa, announced that they would be closing their doors after 9 years in the business. There's no reason given in the post, and a closing date was not mentioned, as it's all dependent on the remaining inventory. Another one bites the dust. Sorry to hear that, Took the Brew. Over at the AGCO, with the whole rollout of the C-stores and grocery now selling large pack-up beer, the AGCO sent out an email bulletin on July 31st that reads in part, reminder that the Government of Ontario prohibits liquor manufacturers from directly or indirectly offering or giving a material, financial, or other benefit to all licensees and permit holders, including convenience stores and grocery store licensees, for the purpose of increasing the sale or availability of a brand. Some examples may include liquor manufacturers providing items to a licensee such as coolers, fridges, or shelving, paying licensees for guaranteed shelf space, liquor product listings, or advertising and promotion opportunities. The bullet also mentions monetary penalties and/or licensing reviews. Ironic that this is being sent out already when C-Store rollout hasn't yet happened. That's September 5th. So obviously there's been some grifting going on, and the AGCO is already well aware of that. So warning to all brewers out there. So some GLB beer releases just wanted to mention quickly. Today during recording, we released a batch of fresh Karma Citra IPA. It won't be heading to the LCBO just yet. You'll have to wait a few weeks for that. It's at our retail stores, but get it before it's gone. It always goes pretty quick. And we also have a new batch of Citradiction XPA, fresh, that always sells 4.4%, nice hazy. And we have Weiss beer cans back in the fridge, can condition GLB Weiss beer, which is amazing. Over at the brew pub, just a couple of notes over there. Nachos. We got nachos on the menu now, and let me tell you, I had them yesterday. They are incredible. Our signature beer cheese is drizzled all over the nachos and the toppings. Then some additional cheese is added for some gooey deliciousness. Seriously, they are really good. We also welcomed Drew's Clues Trivia on Wednesday evenings. It's a new trivia night with a new host, Andrew Osborne, who is our external experiences and partnerships coordinator. It's a mouthful. Drew's Clues is guaranteed to be the most thrilling, exciting, exhilarating, unexpected, and tear-jerking thing you can do in Toronto on a Wednesday night. 20 taps, lots of great food, beer to go, 2 spacious patios right near Sugar Beach. Come visit Great Lakes Brew Pub. That's it for Around the Industry. That's all, folks. Episode 15 with Mary-Beth, Keefe, has moved from the mash tun to the fermenters. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Mare and will visit the famous Granite Brewery soon. Get that lamb curry, wash it down with a pint of Keefe Stout, and tell them GLB sent you. You can thank me later. Today's episode was fueled by cans of Canuck Pale Ale, which you can find all over Ontario at the beer store, LCBO, select grocery stores, and online at greatlakesbeershop.ca. You can visit the brewery at 30 Queen Elizabeth Boulevard in Etobicoke or grab some delicious eats and fresh pours at our brew pub at 11 Lower Jarvis Street here in Toronto. If you have any content you'd love to hear us discuss on the show or just want to tell us what you're drinking, drop us a line at podcast@greatlakesbeer.com. Until next time, please remember to keep tipping your glass of fresh GLB in the right direction. Supporting local never tasted so good.
To learn more about what's happening at Great Lakes Brewery, visit greatlakesbeer.com and subscribe to our weekly newsletter or follow Great Lakes Beer on your favorite social media platforms.